Let's talk about tools, real tools, to find a state of calm, of well-being, an ability to show up, to be present, all that good stuff. I'll start with a story about some nervous people. This story took place in Brooklyn, and specifically at 770 Eastern Parkway, which is Lubavitch World Headquarters. And these nervous people were actually in attendance at a fabrengen of the Lubavitch Rebbe. And I know the exact date. I mean, I actually was listening to a recording last night, an audio recording of the event, and it's also transcribed in the Sichas Kodesh. It took place on Chof Shvat Tavshin Lamed. So just about like 3 weeks from now will be the anniversary of that date. We're talking about the winter of 1970. At any rate, long story short, there was a group who had come to New York from out of town, from overseas, and they needed to fly back that night out of JFK. And they were at the Rebbe's fabrengen. And when the Rebbe would fabreng, the Rebbe would speak many talks, very deep talks, weaving all types of Torah teachings together, and interspersed with Hasidic melodies. It was a multi-faceted sort of thing, and it took many, many hours. And there was no real end time, so you didn't really know how long it's going to go. The Rebbe would sometimes speak 4, 5, 6 hours without notes. I mean, it would just go and go. So there was a group of people who had a plane to catch. They had to get a plane from JFK. And so in the middle of the fabrengen, the Rebbe starts telling a story. And at first it sounds like it's a story. Like, okay, whatever, a story. The Rebbe told a lot of stories. So the Rebbe said, one time I was in Leningrad and I went into my father-in-law's office. The Rebbe's father-in-law was the Previous Rebbe, the 6th Rebbe. And I saw him calmly sitting at his desk, just like it was the middle of a regular workday, except it wasn't. It was the middle of the night, and he had a train to catch in an hour, and he had just spent the entire evening giving personal audiences, yechidus, one-on-one meetings with people, where he would hear them bare their souls, and he would connect to them and give them guidance. That itself is exhausting. And now he's about to head to the train station. That itself can make anyone feel preoccupied. You know, like if I have a plane to catch today, don't even talk to me the whole day. It doesn't matter what time the plane is. Like, I can't, that's it, I'm sorry. Can't think straight. Talk to me tomorrow. And to top it all off, he was taking the train, the Frierdiker Rebbe was taking the train to go meet with a capitalist, somebody who was not necessarily so favorably viewed by the communists. And the Frierdiker Rebbe was going to meet with him to raise funds for underground Jewish activities, which was also not so favorably viewed by the communists. So you're talking about somebody, Previous Rebbe, who was under surveillance, state surveillance, from people who did not play around. They were not hesitant to arrest people and to execute people. And in fact, later they did arrest the Previous Rebbe. And the Rebbe walked into the office and he saw the image of his father-in-law just sitting at the desk, calmly working with papers at his desk, like it's the middle of a regular workday. And here he is at the end of these exhausting one-on-one meetings, about to catch a train. And where's the train going to take him? To a meeting with somebody who really, he could get in trouble for even meeting, and especially get in trouble for what he's raising funds from this person in order to do. The whole thing is very, very stressful. And his father-in-law just looked totally normal. And the Rebbe said, I was taken aback. And I said, you know, I know that Tanya teaches that Mayach Shalat al Alev, that the brain is supposed to rule the heart. And you can't let your emotions carry you away. You have to have self-control. He says, I know that. But, and I'll just tell you the words that Rebbe said, ad kedei kach, which means to such an extent. It doesn't really, in translation, it doesn't really convey it's an exclamation. It's like, really? Like, to that extent? Like, yeah, I know that Chassidus teaches that you have to have control over your emotions, but this is beyond. And it's interesting to me that that's what the Rebbe reacted to. That was the image that caught the Rebbe's attention. That itself is instructive. Like, even a tzaddik can be a little bit nervous, can be a little bit distracted, especially when you have so much going on, right? And so the fact that the previous Rebbe was not at all distracted and he was totally present, the Rebbe was taken aback and he said, Ad kedei kach, to such an extent. And he said, my father-in-law then proceeded to explain to me that we cannot create more hours in the day, but we can use the hours that we were given. And it's called Hatzlacha Bizman, being successful with your time. And he proceeded to give examples of people who were successful with their time, including his own grandfather, the Rebbe Marash, the fourth Chabad Rebbe. And he explained, you got to use a moment. You have a moment, you're given this moment, not at the train station yet, so I have this moment now. Why should I waste this moment because of something I have to do several moments from now? So then the Rebbe said, now remember, I told you what was the situation. This is in 770. The Rebbe, this is in 1970. In 770, the Rebbe's thinking about back in Leningrad. And all of a sudden the Rebbe says, there's some people here right now who are very nervous. And it's because they have a plane to catch. And they're not sure how long this fabrengen is going to go on for. And they know they have a lot to do. They have to go to their guests where they're staying, and they have to pack up, and they have to say goodbye, and they have to get a car, and they have to go to JFK. And because of that, they're not present. They're physically in attendance, but they're not present. They're not really here with us because their mind is on this plane that they have to catch. And some of them are looking at the clock, which is a distraction. Or even worse, the Rebbe said, they're straining to not look at the clock, which is even a greater distraction. And if they would reflect upon what's written in Shar HaYichud VeHaAmunah, they would not be stressed. They would not be nervous. They would be totally present. Now, what's written in Shar HaYichud VeHaAmunah? What is Shar HaYichud VeHaAmunah? It's a volume of Tanya, second volume of Tanya. It's about cosmology, the study of the origin of creation. And it speaks about the nature of existence, that essentially Hashem is creating everything, something from absolute nothing at every single second. That's what it says. In short, that's what it says over there. So the Rebbe says, if they would think about what it says in Shar HaYichud VeHaAmunah, and the group of people who were stressed out about the flight they had to catch, these were Chabad Chassidim, so they had certainly studied Shar HaYichud VeHaAmunah. They knew what the book said. They were familiar with its contents. So the Rebbe said, if they would think about what it says in Shar HaYichud VeHaAmunah, they wouldn't be nervous. Because they would realize that the plane that they need to catch has not even been created yet. Right now, all that exists is right here and right now, and the plane they need to catch will exist when they need to catch it. But right now, that plane, that same plane that they're going to catch an hour and a quarter from now, I think is the time that the Rebbe said, which shows you there was no TSA back in 1970. Because it was still possible to get from Crown Heights to JFK and catch an international flight in an hour and a quarter. Remember those days? Yeah, okay. The plane that they need to catch in an hour and a quarter from now doesn't exist yet because everything's created every single second. So that's not now. An hour and a quarter from now is the plane will be created at that moment. But now, it's not the same plane. So why are you thinking about a plane? It's not even your plane. It's a different plane. Right now, think about the immediate environment that's being created around you, for you. right now, here and now. And then you're going to be present. So, I mean, this is a deep concept. You want to be present, you have to think about Sha'arei Yichud ve'Amunah. And if you're going to think about Sha'arei Yichud ve'Amunah, if you're going to think about the fact that Hashem is creating everything from absolute nothing at this very second, you're going to be relaxed. You're going to be in the moment. You're going to be completely present. Hey, this is Shais Taub. You were just watching a clip from this class. If you want to get the full context, the full class that this clip that you just watched was from, you watch right here. Click right here. Here.